Hey, Soul Tribe, it's your Soul Coach Jeremy Wright, and everything I put on the internet is to help you heal deeply so you can live fully. Astrology is part of that tool to help you really achieve your best life. The three outer planets, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto, have been debated probably for as long as I've been born on whether they really affect people individually or they're just generational planets that are affecting, generations. So it's more of a cultural influence. From my years of study and dealing with people, I am a firm believer that there's such a thing as outer planet people. And what are outer planet people? Are these like space aliens? No, these are people who in their natal birth chart have a prominent Neptune, Uranus, Pluto, somewhere in the first house, aspecting the sun, aspecting the moon, many aspects of these outer planets. These types of people, if you were to tell them that the outer planets don't affect people individually, most of them, I would believe, the ones that I have definitely consulted, would disagree with you. And I'm a personal believer, as we enter into the Aquarius age, as we have made many advancements, one of the advancements we're going to see in astrology is the importance of people that are outer planet people. People who have many aspects in prominent positions in their natal chart with one or all three of the outer planets, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto. And so why do I say this? Well, one of the things that I know is that if you're an outer planet person, you have definitely a heavier load to carry than most people in this lifetime. Why do I say that? Because outer planet people are not only dealing with their own karma, not only dealing with their own issues and their own soul growth, but they're actually, in this lifetime on this planet, they're actually an archetype of everyone that's ever come before in raising higher consciousness in this world. So what do I mean by that? So I'm saying somebody that has a strong Pluto in the first, the 10th, connected to the sun or the moon. This is someone that we know that Pluto is about destruction, but reinvention, rejuvenation, rebuilding after all the negative has been torn down. When someone has a prominent Pluto in their chart, they're actually not only dealing with their subconscious mind and their stuff that's in the depths of their soul, but they're dealing with all of the stuff that comes before. So, that's why there are people that feel very strong about slavery and very strong about social justice, even today, because we made so many advancements, but there's still things we need to do. But there needs to be emotional healing still today. And Pluto people that have this prominent in their chart, they're here to help heal the planet. And they're doing a lot of this unconsciously with just their own soul advancement and the things that they put out and the things that they talk about. They're really helping us to process our histories as human beings. And so part of that is Pluto people are here to not only heal the past, even past of their ancestors, past of their culture, past of even consciousness itself. They're not only healing that, but they are actually transforming it. They're taking that wound and turning it into wisdom. They're taking pain and turning it into purpose. That's why Pluto people, when they walk into a room or into a new environment, it seems like all the problems gravitate towards them, even if they don't ask for it. Why? Because these other beings, these other souls knows that there's an inner quality, an inner strength, an inner wisdom of that Pluto person to handle the drama, to handle the scandal, to handle all the issues, and bring about some type of clarity, bring about some type of just a clean slate, being able to get rid of the debris. Kind of like you ever see a dirty room or a dirty driveway, then the rain comes and it cleans everything and it's fresh and it smells great. That's what a Pluto person does, is they take away the debris in the emotional atmosphere or the psychological atmosphere so we can lighten our load and breathe easier, be able to handle our psychological stuff in a much more healthy manner. Now, let's say you have a Neptune that is high, very, very prominent in your chart. That Neptune outer person, we know that Neptune spirituality and idealism. So if Pluto is healing people, generationally, and as a person, you're healing others with this prominent Pluto, Neptune is really having you help change the beliefs of the world. Neptune's about spirituality, idealism. It's about connected to divine source, intuition, inspiration. So someone with the prominent Neptune, they're going to have a very humanity, just like Uranus, a human idealism bent. And that bent would be towards bringing our spirituality, elevating our spirituality to a higher place. So we've seen that religion has probably caused more wars, famine, hardship in our short history as humans. But Neptune is saying we don't want to necessarily get rid of, how do I say this? We don't want to get rid of faith, but we want to bring religion to a higher level, a level that, like many of the Hindus used to teach, that there are many paths, that lead to God, and that wherever you find truth, it doesn't matter where you find it. If it's true, it's true. And being more inclusive, more embracing, more empowering. The last 2,000 years was a lot of guilt-based faith or religion. We're looking at Neptune saying, hey, can we have a faith, a spiritual story that doesn't guilt us, trap us, make us evil, but lifts us up into reaching for our better angels, reaching for the stars, and learning how we all can, the innate goodness, the godlike particle that's inside of all of us, how we activate that, embrace that, and bring that worthiness of being a human being, the worthiness of all animals, planet, this earth, that it's sacred already. We don't have to wait to get to heaven to experience the divine. We can experience it right here on earth if we allow that Neptune to uplift our beliefs. So what happens is someone with prominent Neptune is you may challenge the beliefs of your family. You may threaten the beliefs of your culture because you're here to bring awareness to what people believe that are harming them. And people don't want to give up their beliefs. They'd rather hurt and still hold on to a belief that they learned in childhood than receive an empowering belief that causes them to have to change and let go. It's just tricky like that. That's why we need Pluto to tear down all those old childhood dogma. But Neptune replaces that with more empowering, idealistic, spiritual connected truths that maybe we didn't understand at one time, but now we're coming into it. We call it the activation. We call it, going up to the fifth dimension. So there's a lot of terms that are new, that seem new agey or seem different than the language that our parents and grandparents learn. But you're here, if you have Neptune prominent, you're here to teach these beliefs, these new beliefs, these higher beliefs. They were always around, we just weren't aware of them, and help lift up humanity. Because if our beliefs are not right, we're never going to get this world in a higher dimension or a higher faith in a better place. So Pluto is carrying the baggage of generations. Neptune is carrying dealing with a lot of the false and limiting beliefs of generations. Where does that leave Uranus? Well, Uranus is, as I said earlier, the humanitarian planet. It's the planet of progression, progress, innovation, a little bit rebellious, but it's all about, doing things for humanity. So where Neptune would deal with the spiritual side of the man and woman, Uranus is dealing with, the actual physical things like how do we feed everyone on the planet? How do we stop global warming? How do we have social justice where everyone is treated equal? And so how do we have safe policing? And so Uranus is a very intuitive mind. And so if you got a strong Uranus, you're getting just flashes of insight. You're getting a lot of inspiration on how we can build a better society, how we can, have a vision and a hope of what the world could look like, and being independent and rebellious enough to buck the system, to stand up to the status quo and say, even though it's been this way for all of my ancestors' lives, we can do better as a society. We can have better governments, better schools, better hospitals, better healthcare, if we're willing to be progressive, if we're willing to make the changes that are very innovative. And so you're really going to see someone with that Uranus in a very prominent position in their birth chart as visionaries. You've come on this planet at this time to be a visionary, to be maybe even a righteous rebel on help to change the dynamic of organizations and governments and just you name it, because we have to have government. We have to have organization. There are things that are in place, because Saturn would always say, hey, we need structure to survive as a society. But Uranus comes and says, okay, we're going to have structure. What's the next society? Where are we heading as a species? And so outer planet people have a great responsibility. So, with that great responsibility comes a lot of burden. The burden of being misunderstood. The burden of not being accepted. The burden of feeling like an outcast. The burden of being attacked for no good reason. Because people that don't understand you usually feel threatened by you. Or here you are trying to dealing with very sensitive subjects and bring these things up where people, what they always say, don't discuss religion or politics, or don't get personal. So, you are a lightning rod, not only for inspiration and download from spirit, but you're also a lightning rod for people that don't want to evolve, that don't want their consciousness to be expanded. They're comfortable where they're at. And so your consciousness, what you're doing with your thoughts, is challenging their comfort zone. And what I want to say to you, outer planet people, thank you. You may be misunderstood. You may be rejected at times. You may be even hurt, attacked at times. But your mission is making this world a better place. You're healing a lot of people. You're raising the beliefs for a lot of people. You're challenging systems to change that are going to help the world in a much more utopia type of way. If we could just all get together and listen to what you say, follow your example, and just watch how when we allow the outer planets to flow through our life, it can change what's happening right here on Earth. Hey, I'm Jeremy Wright, and if you don't know where your outer planets are, or if you've never had an astrology reading done before, go to divinesparkministries.com. And you can see my coaching packages, the different things that I do. Once again, I said everything I put on the internet is to help you heal deeply so you can live fully. And great healing and great inspiration comes through knowing your astrology chart. See you in the next episode.